Welcome back once again to Cooking with TheDoerle. In today's episode, we're going to be making a really simple but really tasty stuffed peppers. Enjoy! Alright, welcome back once again to Cooking with TheDoerle. We've got all of our ingredients here for our stuffed peppers. This is a really simple recipe, real easy to throw together. I've got some pizza sauce. I've got a quart of it that I made up a few weeks ago in a can. I've got 4 large green bell peppers. You can use whatever color you like. I have a friend that the green peppers give them really bad burps, so you might want to use a redder or a yellow. It's a sweeter flavor. I've got a pound of ground beef. I've got about a cup and a half of cooked rice. I made this in my rice cooker, and then I've got a couple cups of shredded cheddar. I probably won't use all of that. Then I also have some minced onions here, just dried minced onions. Like I said, this is a really simple recipe. Let's go ahead and get started with it. Alright, we've got our peppers here, and the way I learned to make stuffed peppers was to chop the top of the pepper off, take the seeds out, any of the extra flesh, and then you're left with this really large pepper. And it's a huge serving, and I just don't quite like that. So what I like to do with these is I go and I just cut this stem out. I take one of my paring knives, I cut the top out, I pull it out. That takes most of the seeds out with it. Then I cut the pepper in half. I take my knife again and I'll just cut the last of this white meat, and we'll get the rest of the seeds out, and I'll show you a real simple trick to getting all those loose seeds out. Dump that out. I'll just take the pepper in the flat of your hand, just pop it down there, and that's going to get almost every one of those seeds out. There's just none left in there now. Alright, we've got our halves here. We'll go ahead and get the rest of these peppers prepped up. Alright, we're just about done with these. Just about got them all cleaned out and ready to be blanched. Fantastic. Now we have 8 pepper halves. That's going to be great. That's going to be plenty for a meal and for leftovers. I'm going to be serving these to myself and my girlfriend Angela, and her dad Ron is a big fan of stuffed peppers, and I made some of these about a week ago, and he was fairly disappointed in me for not calling him, so I'm going to make sure that he gets a few of these tonight. Let's go and get that pot of water boiling. We'll blanch these, and we'll also start cooking the meat. Alright, as you can see, I've got my ground beef in a skillet, and I've just got it on medium heat. I crumbled it into the pan, put it on medium heat, and we're going to brown it. I've got my oven heating. I've set it at 350 because this is going to cook for about an hour at 350. And into the ground beef here, I'm going to do just a couple turns of black pepper. A nice punch of these minced onions. This is going to be, a couple good tablespoons of them in there. Normally I'd use fresh onions, but I've already been to the store twice today, and by the time I realized I didn't have any, I didn't want to go back. Next we'll be taking these. I've got my water boiling for my peppers. We'll just place them right in there. Don't drop them in there. You don't want to splash yourself with boiling water. And these are a little bit cooler, and it's going to make the water stop boiling. And they're going to just go blanch for about a minute. So basically, once the water starts boiling again, they're good to go. You're just looking to make them soft. Let's give this a couple more turns here. Alright, we're going to let that cook. These are still going here. I've got a bowl of cold water in my sink. So what I'll do is I'll take my tongs. Once these are blanched, I'll throw them into the cold water to cool them down. Then I'll set them aside and I'll let them drain off and let them dry out. This here, I'm going to cook it all the way till we don't see any more pink and it's nice and brown. Then I'm going to drain it using my metal colander. And we're going to go and start mixing things up from there. Alright, our beef is nice and brown here. I'm going to go and turn it off. I've got another metal pan with a metal strainer here. And let's just pour this meat in there, get it all in there. We'll want to let this drain to get as much of the grease out of it as possible. Also, we want it to cool down just a little bit because we're going to be mixing in the rice and the cheese with it, and I don't want the cheese to get melted right away. I'm going to throw that in my sink. My peppers are just starting to boil again. I just pulled a few out with the tongs, and they're still just a little bit firmer than I want. So I'm going to give them just another minute here. salt walls are still pretty strong in there. I threw a nice healthy punch of salt in with the water too when I was boiling this. Really, when you boil things, go and throw some salt in there. It'll helps the flavor, and with something like this, it's going to help extract a lot of the moisture out of the peppers, so they're not soggy when you cook them. You want them soft but not soggy. And also, don't worry too much about it if you're watching your salt intake, because you're going to rinse all that off anyway. All right, our peppers are blanched. It took about 3 minutes. As you can see, the color has lightened up a little bit on them. They're a lot more pliable now. And I'm just going to toss them right there into that cold water, and it's just tap water cold. You know, if you want, use some ice water. It'll stop the cooking a lot faster, but either way, it's going to stop the cooking here. We're just going to toss those in there, and then we're going to turn back to our table, where we're going to start making the filling, and then get them tossed into the oven. Alright, we've got our little workstation set up here. I took my peppers out of the water, and I threw them on a towel to dry them off. We've got my hamburger. It's been fully drained, nice and cooled off now. My rice, my cheese, my spaghetti sauce. We've got our pan that we're going to put the peppers into. First thing I'm going to do is just add this rice. Like I said, I made it previously. I have a rice cooker. If you're going to make rice, it's pretty simple. 2 parts water to 1 part rice. Bring it to a boil, let it simmer. It should be easy. I'm just really bad at making rice in a pan. That's why I just use my rice cooker. I like to cook, but some things you're just not good at. But anyway, want about twice as much meat per rice. We'll go and throw that in there. Give it a quick mix around. The rice is also cold, so that's going to help cool the meat down a little bit. We're going to take some of our spaghetti sauce. And this is a quart here, so I'm going to add, about a cup or so. We'll start with that. We'll get that incorporated in there. Get it mixed in really well. Kind of looking like a thin manwich almost, like thin sloppy joes. We're going to a little bit more of that sauce. And we want to save some of this because we're going to put it on top of the peppers. And we're going to baste them with it as they're cooking. And that looks really good. Nice, rich, red filling. Now we can add some cheese. You also want to save some of this because you're going to go and throw it on top of the peppers as they're cooking. Right at the end. So you get a little bit of cheese on top, melted, browned up just a little bit. Alright, that looks fantastic right there. We are right at the consistency I'm looking for. Bay leaf. That's from the spaghetti sauce. Alright, and we can stuff our peppers now. We'll put them in the pan. Do 2 rows of 4. Might have to change it up just a little bit to get them all in here. A little bit of cooking with the TheDoerle Tetris. There we are. And it's okay if they're all snuggled up next to each other real tight. It's not like we have to worry about them not cooking because basically everything's cooked all the way. You could honestly eat this right now, but it's not going to be as good, so I'm not recommending that. Now you can just spoon some of this filling in here. Make sure it fills in all the little crevices, all the little bits in here. Get it down on the bottom and the top. Some of these peppers got some nooks and crannies. You can make sure they get nice and stuffed because there's plenty of filling here for all these peppers. Don't be afraid that you're going to run out part way through. These peppers are coming along really nicely. I've just got a little bit of meat left here in my bowl. So we're going to fill in any of them that aren't quite stuffed fully. We got all that good filling in here. These are going to be really tasty. I'm very, very excited about it. I like being excited about my food and having something to look forward to. Making a meal for yourself and for your friends and for your family. And having them look forward to the meal as well, knowing how good you've cooked it, it's a huge part of cooking for me. Alright, now we're just going to take some of this sauce and just pour it over. Don't be afraid. What I'll do actually is cut this down with a little bit of water, what I have left in here. I'll put a little bit of water in here while these are baking. So next time I pour sauce over it, it's a little bit thinner. We're just trying to keep them wet on the outside. And also the sauce that leaks off of them, that's going to wind up getting in the bottom of the pan and help cook them as well. Alright, our peppers have been cooking for about 20 minutes. They're nice and hot. You really start to smell all the aromas starting to come out of the oven. We watered down our sauce just a little bit. I'm just going to pour that over the top of them. Just make sure they stay nice and moist on top. Alright, I want to cover up all those edges of the pepper. They're kind of starting to curl up a little bit on the edge. Get that on there nice and generous, so we've got just enough to throw on the top here. We're going to let them cook another 20 minutes. Then we're going to throw some more of the sauce, a little bit of cheese on them, and they'll get one more shot in the oven for 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and get them back in there now. Alright, as you can see, we got our peppers out of the oven once again. Starting to cook down real nice. I'm just going to pour the last of this sauce on here, just to coat them one more time, make sure everything stays nice and moist. Make sure all that flavor bakes in there really well, and then we'll take what's left of this cheese and we'll just sprinkle it on top. Just kind of throw it on there, get them on there. It'll melt down, cook down on top of it, and it'll be really, really nice. Real pretty too. You can already see how attractive they're looking. Alright, I'm just going to throw the last of the sauce down the bottom of the pan. A little bit extra moisture. Alright, we're going to throw these back in. These are actually cooking really well, so I'm just going to throw them back in for another 15 minutes. Like I said before, they're at 350 degrees, and our next shot, we should be enjoying some of these. Alright, we've got our stuffed peppers out of the oven, and they are done. I'm going to just run my fork down the side, and I can cut through the pepper with it. Still a little bit dense, still a little bit thick. Let's cut this thing in half and see how it looks. Alright, nice. That looks really good. Let's go and give it a taste. The pepper is still nice and firm. It's not soggy or anything. Filling looks good in there. Mmm. That is just packed with flavor. The pepper still retains a lot of that good green pepper flavor, kind of sweet. The meat, nice small bits mixed in with the sauce, the rice and everything, fantastic. Everything really came together really well here. So I'm real happy about how this turned out. Well, till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. I want to say thank you to Tommy Fuller for suggesting tacos. I'm going to be doing that in one of my upcoming episodes. I also need to thank Captain Morgan from Unchained with the Captain for his excellent production work and all the real heavy editing that he's been doing with my videos, the last few videos. Till next time, enjoy.